This chart illustrates a well-known psychological trap, the Dunning-Kruger effect. It plots our confidence against our actual competence. Notice the spike right at the beginning. It shows that people who are the least skilled in a subject are often the most likely to overestimate their own ability. But a study from Aalto University tested what happens when we use ChatGPT for these tasks. They had 500 participants solve logical reasoning problems and then rate their own work. In the AI group, the curve disappeared, leveling out into a flat line. Everyone was equally bad at estimating how they actually performed. The researchers found that participants who scored highest on an AI literacy test were actually the most overconfident. Having more technical knowledge didn't make them better at judging the quality of the machine's work, it just made them more certain they were right. We tend to view AI as a neutral tool that simply provides answers. But the data suggests it distorts our self-awareness, replacing genuine skill with a false sense of mastery. This happens through a process called cognitive offloading. When the researchers looked at how people used the chatbot, the majority asked one single question per problem. They didn't probe the logic or verify the facts. They simply outsourced the thinking and trusted the result. That trust is exploited by a design flaw called sycophancy. These AI models are programmed to be helpful and engaging, which often means they are designed to agree with the user and avoid direct contradiction. If you provide a chatbot with a flawed premise, it will frequently validate your logic rather than correcting it. This creates a psychological feedback loop where the machine mirrors your own biases back to you, making you feel vindicated rather than informed. This constant validation is so effective that some researchers have identified a state called AI psychosis. This occurs when a user becomes so detached from critical feedback that they lose their grip on reality, falling into delusional thinking driven by the chatbot's constant flattery. If a tool erodes critical thinking by design, adopting it without a plan creates a persistent operational vulnerability. It isn't just a technical upgrade, it's a change to how a team processes the truth. Most companies try to solve this by managing AI adoption through traditional carrots and sticks. They offer bonuses for using the tool or create quotas for automated tasks, treating employees like components in a machine. But external pressure often fails with complex technology. If an employee is forced to hit an automation target, they are more likely to take the path of least resistance, blindly trusting the machine. A more resilient approach is found in self-determination theory. It identifies 3 core human needs: autonomy, the feeling of control; relatedness, the sense of connection; and competence, the drive for mastery. To interact with AI safely, employees need to treat intrinsic motivation as an active skill. They have to be personally invested enough in their work to notice when the machine is leading them astray. Piyush Gupta, the CEO of DBS Bank, used this logic to transform his organization. Rather than a top-down mandate, he focused on building widespread data literacy across the entire staff. Gupta gave every employee the time and permission to experiment with AI tools. He created a culture where people were encouraged to play with the technology and then share their ideas every 6 months. This led to tangible efficiency gains in unexpected places. In HR, the team used their training to build their own AI models for recruitment and predicting employee attrition. These tools weren't bought and installed, they were developed by the people using them. Disney uses a similar strategy called evangelistics. Leaders speak passionately about what data and analytics can achieve, aiming to inspire a cultural shift rather than simply enforcing a new set of rules. These examples show that successful AI integration relies on a learning-friendly environment that puts human development before the technology itself. On an individual level, the primary defense against over-reliance is metacognition, the ability to think about our own thinking. It's the process of stepping back to evaluate why we believe an answer is correct. This looks a lot like the classic Socratic method. Instead of just accepting a result, we have to interrogate our assumptions and the machine's logic with the same rigor we'd apply to a human colleague. This means asking specific questions. What evidence supports this answer? Is this accurate or just convenient? What's the counterargument? Embracing vulnerability and questioning our own conclusions is a necessary step to break the feedback loop that AI sycophancy creates. The definition of a valuable employee is changing. When a machine can instantly execute a logical task or draft a report, the act of execution itself is no longer a premium skill. It has become a commodity. What remains valuable is the human element, critical oversight, empathetic communication, and the judgment to handle complex intrapersonal problems. Organizations like Vanderbilt University Medical Center demonstrate this by hiring for attitude over technical aptitude. They recognize that while you can train someone to use a computer, you cannot easily replicate an employee's genuine commitment to solving a patient's problem with kindness. As technical tasks are automated, a company's competitive advantage will rest entirely on these uniquely human traits that algorithms struggle to imitate. The real purpose of adopting AI is not to allow us to think less. It is to force us to think at a higher level. We can let critical thinking atrophy through automated flattery, or use this technology to rely more deeply on our own internal intent. To navigate the AI revolution without losing our self-awareness, we have to double down on the qualities that make us human.